Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 34 of Diehlman at Halftime, the NBA podcast that tops all others. I'm your host, Larry Diehlman. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome aboard, and if you've been a loyal listener, welcome back. We have much to get to today and not a lot of time to do it. We have 4 sections that we'll get into: a general overview of the NBA this week, and our usual highlight, lowlight, and random stat. So you might have heard me just say in the previous section that we'll only be doing 4 sections instead of 5. That's because we are in the NBA Finals portion of the NBA season, and I figured Game of the Week is kind of obvious at this point. So last week's Game of the Week was the final one that we'll do for the season, but we will continue to do other content anyway. So let's get into our content for the week. There was a big story that dropped this week. First, NBA insider Shams Charania reported that the LA Lakers were zeroing in on former player and current ESPN broadcaster JJ Redick to be their next head coach. Despite the fact that Redick has absolutely no experience as a head coach, the Lakers are apparently intrigued. On the Gojo and Golick show on Wednesday, Redick addressed the report by saying, quote, "My focus is on the NBA Finals. In terms of Shams, that will be addressed once the season is over. I'll just say that." Fans have speculated that Redick and LeBron James started the Mind the Game podcast because James wants Redick to lead the Lakers. Then there were reports from insider Adrian Wojnarowski that the Lakers were making a huge push for University of Connecticut head coach Dan Hurley. The Huskies just won back-to-back national championships under Hurley. Like Redick, Hurley has never coached at the NBA level either. Now today, Monday, June 10th, it was announced that Hurley turned down a 6-year, $70 million contract from LA to stay at UConn and chase a three-peat. I guess this means that this is Redick's job to lose. It's an interesting thing because LeBron is potentially a free agent. Anthony Davis, his injury history is suspect most of the time. So this could be an interesting job if Redick wants to take it or if there is another candidate involved. Speaking of the Lakers, the head coach who just got fired, Darvin Ham, is returning to Milwaukee. Ham played for the Bucks for 3 seasons in the early 2000s. He spent the 2018 through 22 seasons as an assistant coach before accepting the Lakers job. He will head back east as the top assistant on Doc Rivers' coaching staff as the Bucks try to get the Giannis Antetokounmpo-Damian Lillard combo far into next year's playoffs. Also, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver discussed at his NBA Finals press conference about expansion plans for the league. He said, quote, "It's not preordained that we will expand this time, but I know there's an enormous amount of interest out there. And to me, yes, there are wealthy individuals, institutions that would like to invest and buy NBA teams. But I think it's on the league to look holistically because there is the dilution, of course." Silver added that there's potential to look outside the U.S. and Canada. The NBA has not added a new team since 2004. This episode is entitled, "Who Said This Would Be Easy?" So, who's raising eyebrows at the moment? Let's go to our highlight, the Boston Celtics. The Boston faithful are being cautiously optimistic, but optimistic regardless in the 2024 NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics are up 2-0 in their series with the Dallas Mavericks and 2 wins away from a potential 18th championship. Why would I say they're cautiously optimistic, though? Remember when they faced Golden State in the finals a few years ago and blew a 2-1 lead? That's why. What has made this series interesting is that Boston has Kristaps Porzingis coming off the bench, even though he started the entire year. A calf strain knocked him out for most of the postseason, but he returned for the finals. Porzingis exploded in Game 1 with 20 points in 21 minutes off the bench. Game 2 was a well-rounded effort from Boston as a team. Jason Tatum was 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. Drew Holiday led the team with 26 points, and Peyton Pritchard, of all people, scored his only points of the night on a buzzer-beating bank shot triple to end the third quarter. Jaylen Brown and Derek White were solid, especially White, who made defensive plays and hit triples at the end of the game. Winning both road games would obviously end the series. However, going back home with a 3-1 lead would help too. Game 3 is on Wednesday, June 12th at 8:30 p.m. in Dallas. Let's go to our low light, the Dallas Mavericks. Winning a game on the road within the first 2 of a series is crucial. The Dallas Mavericks gave away their opportunity to do so. Down 2-0 in this final series, the Mavericks will be looking to bounce back in their 2 home games this week. Game 1 wasn't even a contest. Boston was up by 29 in the first half. Luka Doncic had 30 points and 10 rebounds, and Dallas still lost by 18. While Game 2 saw the Mavericks lead early on, the Celtics plowed forward and finished the job. A Dallas comeback will only happen because of 2 words: Kyrie Irving. The former Celtic is shooting 13 of 37, or 35.1% in this series so far. Dallas has made it this far because of the lethal Doncic-Irving combo, not the one-man Luka Doncic band. Doncic had a 32-point triple-double in Game 2. How did the game end? Jaylen Brown cooking Maxi Kleber on a layup attempt. We've discussed how teams down 3-0 in an NBA playoff series have never come all the way back to win. They've come close, but never won. The Mavericks realistically need to win Games 3 and 4 to tie this series at 2-2. If not, their chances of being NBA champions for the second time will grow slimmer and slimmer. Finally, let's go to our random stat. All season long for our random stats section, we've been going over, random stats or interesting stories. This week's edition involves something that covers the entire season. Let's do a Game of the Week predictions review. For almost every episode this season, we've done a Game of the Week, and I've made a team and score prediction. It's time to tally up all of my predictions. So if you remember from my first episode, I said that this podcast would be a sequel, if you will, of my NBA column that I wrote while I was in college. The format is exactly the same from the column, except Game of the Week. I added that for this podcast specifically. I made a total of 33 predictions in 33 episodes. I made 5 predictions, if you remember, on our Christmas episode. We didn't do any for special edition episodes, and I did 2 for 1 at the end of the regular season since the Clippers and Suns played in back-to-back nights that week. Of the 33, based on the team I thought would win, I had 22 correct and 11 incorrect. 67%, I'll take it. Then there's the margin of victory. Some predictions were better than others. My average prediction for a game's margin of victory was 7.4 points per game. That means I thought most games' margins would hover around there. So I looked at all the games that I predicted, I added all of them up, and took the average. The actual games were won by a margin of 11.2 points per game. I will say that there were a few outliers. For example, I predicted a 3-point victory in a game that was won by 36. Or I predicted an 18-point victory in a contest that was won by 2. Probably the closest prediction of the year was right after the All-Star break. The Thunder played at the Suns on March 3rd. I predicted the Thunder 125-117. The actual Thunder 118-110. Same team, same margin of 8 points. I also got the 6 points for the Sixers-Heat Christmas game, but I took the Sixers, not the Heat. This was definitely a fun section to test run this season. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on social media. I have 2 Twitter accounts and 2 Instagram accounts. The podcast accounts are under @Diehlman_NBA for both Twitter and Instagram. My personal Twitter is @LarryDiehlman18 and my personal Instagram is @Mr_Sports18. They are also in the description on SoundCloud. So just as a reminder for the next few weeks, as we discussed in this episode, the Celtics are up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. If the finals go either 4 games or 5, meaning the Celtics finish the Mavericks off in 4 or 5 games, then next week will be the final episode of the season. However, if the Mavericks want to make things interesting and extend this series to 6 or 7, then that means we have 2 more episodes to go, and that our final episode of the season will be on June 24th. So if it's a short series, next week's the last episode. If it's a longer series, we got 2 more episodes to go, just so you are aware. And don't forget to spread the word about Diehlman at halftime. See you next time, fellow Hoops fans.